Welcome, everyone, to Sustainably Compliant Conversations. Ready to dive deep?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Today, we're tackling a topic that's, well, kind of taken over the world: sustainability and compliance. And trust me, we're going way beyond the buzzwords. Think of this as your all-access pass behind the scenes to really understand what makes these concepts tick.
It's more than just a trend, that's for sure.
Exactly. So let's start with the basics. We hear sustainability everywhere now. But what's the real deal for businesses? What does it actually mean to be sustainable?
Well, it's about recognizing that our resources, the planet's resources, they aren't infinite. We can't just keep taking and taking without consequences. It's about finding ways to do business to meet our needs without, compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs.
Future-proofing, basically,
Yeah.
making sure there's something left for the next generation.
Mhm.
So how does that translate to the business world? What kind of impact are we talking about here?
Well, think of it this way. If everyone on Earth lived like the average American, we'd need 5 Earths worth of resources. 5. Obviously, that's not sustainable. Businesses have a huge role to play in changing that equation.
5 Earths. Okay, that's a pretty sobering thought. No wonder everyone's talking about this. But it can't all be doom and gloom, right?
hmm
There have to be some upsides for businesses besides just, well, not being responsible for the apocalypse.
Right, of course. For one thing, consumers are really starting to vote with their wallets. They're willing to pay more for sustainable products, for brands that align with their values, especially younger generations, millennials, Gen Z. They really care about this stuff.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. They're looking for transparency, for companies that walk the talk. It's not just about the product anymore. It's about the whole package, the whole story behind it.
Exactly. A recent study actually found that over 70% of millennials consider a company's environmental commitments before buying something. That's a huge chunk of the market.
That's a lot of potential customers.
hmm
So sustainability, it's good for the planet, good for business.
hmm
It's a win-win.
But then there's this other word, compliance. That one sounds a little more, well, serious.
It is serious, and for a good reason. We're seeing more and more greenwashing, which is basically companies making misleading claims about their sustainability practices. Governments are cracking down with stricter regulations, bigger penalties for violations. We're talking about fines that could seriously hurt a company, sometimes even put them out of business.
Wow. So the stakes are high. So we've got the why, saving the planet, attracting customers, avoiding legal trouble. But what about the how? How does a company actually become sustainable? It's easy to talk the talk, but walking the walk, that's the real challenge.
Absolutely. It really starts with weaving sustainability into the very fabric of the business, into every level of operation.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice? Can you give us an example? Sure. Take waste reduction. It's not just about recycling more, although that's important too. Some companies are embracing what's called the circular economy model. They're thinking about the entire life cycle of a product, even before it's produced. How can we minimize waste from the very beginning? How can we design products that can be easily disassembled and recycled at the end of their life? It's about closing the loop.
That's fascinating. So it's about rethinking the whole process, not just slapping a recyclable label on something and calling it a day.
Exactly. And it's the same with energy. Switching to renewable sources is great, but some companies are going even further with energy efficiency measures. They're finding ways to reduce their overall consumption in the first place. It's about being proactive, not reactive.
So we're talking about reducing waste, using less energy, sourcing ethically. It's like a total business makeover.
In a way, it is. And the good news is, it's not just about survival anymore, it's about thriving. In our future deep dives, we'll explore some companies that are doing incredible things in this space, companies that are proving that sustainability isn't just good for the planet, it's good for business. It's pretty inspiring stuff.
I'm definitely looking forward to hearing those success stories. But for now, here's a little something to think about. If you could wave a magic wand and make one industry completely sustainable overnight, which one would you choose and why? Think about it, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.